Well, bless the name of the Lord. Excuse me. Thank you for joining in Sanctuary. Thank you for joining Thee Alive tonight. We are just giving praise, honor, and glory for this day, and we give God all that He is due. Listen, we've been talking for over the course of the last several weeks. We've been talking from the theme and the thought, the reality of God's promises must become our living experience and expectation. What are you saying, Pastor? Pastor is saying that the promises that God has given to you in His Word should be not only an experience for you, but you should have an expectation of what it is going to produce in your life. God said that you can have it, and by His Word, that means that you already have it. You're not looking for it, you already have it. You're not trying to walk into it, you're not trying to get it. You are just looking to live in and experience what's already yours. It's almost like having money in your pocket and not having to go to the bank. You already know it's in your pocket, it exists. So now you know what you can have and what you can't have. Why? Because you have what it takes to get it in your pocket already. The promises of God have already been written and given unto the believer. So as believers, we are walking in what God said is already, watch this, ours. It's already ours. So we've been referencing scripture, Second Corinthians, the first chapter, verse 19 and 20, and we've been referencing Second Peter, verse number 1 through and verse number. I'm sorry, Second Peter, first chapter, verse number 4. So we're going to kind of just pick up last week where we left off. We left off last week, and we talked about knowledge and faith coupled with action is the key to activate the promises of God. Knowledge and faith coupled with you doing something with what you have then activates something in your life, and that is the promise of God. You have to believe what God said. He said in Hebrews 11 and 6, but without faith it is impossible to please Him. So you're not working from that deficit, because as a believer, by faith, you know He gonna do what He said He gonna do. Come a little closer. I know I'm not the only one on live or in sanctuary that can throw both of my hands up and said, Lord, you've been faithful in my life. Lord, you've done it in my life. Lord, thank you now for being where I am now. And even in spite of all the doctor's reports, in spite of all the things that people said, the naysayers, by faith, you have given it to manifest in my life. So I know what you can. This ain't hearsay. This ain't what I saw on the news. This is, watch this, my living testimony. This is me standing up every morning and you seeing what God is doing, what God has already done. This is me over the course of the last several years with all the hang-up hitches and hookups and all of the health issues and all of that stuff that people were saying. But now look at me now. That's what this, see, I'm walking in what you already said. You said by your stripes I'm walking in healing. When I wasn't feeling good, I'm still walking in healing. I was still saying that I'm healed already, even though I hadn't gotten there yet. But because you said it, then I'm already walking in it. So we understand that faith, watch this, doesn't focus on how, it focuses on who. So watch this, y'all. Let me throw it at you this way. Stop worrying about how God gonna do it, and just understand because of who He is, it's already done. See, you don't have to worry about the how, because your mind can't figure it out no way. You think He gonna come in the back door. He already standing at the front door telling you to come on. You think it's going to come by your finances, and He's already put people in your life to bless you going in and coming out. So stop trying to figure out the how and just rely on the who. That's most important. The who is what counts, because He said it. You see, it ain't like me and you, because I can tell you something, and my phone can ring, and I can forget about it. I can tell you something, and with all of my good intentions, I was trying to get there, but something happened. But when He says it don't matter if the hell or high waters come. It don't matter if it's storm. It does not matter what the circumstances are. The who has spoken, so you can depend on it. You know why? Because even after the storm clear, you still standing there because he kept you through the storm because of who he is. Faith is hanging on to God's word. Watch this, y'all. Whatever the cost is, whatever the cost is, whatever the cost. See, the promise of God is a promise. It's an agreement between you, the believer, and God. You remember Sunday I talked about a promissory note. He wrote us a promissory note. he already promised by the note you already have. He wrote us he left us a promissory note in writing. It's written. So now I don't have to worry about, watch this, if it's going to happen. I've just got to walk in it until it does happen. And then watch me, because of what he said, I've got to find out by his word what applies to me and what doesn't apply to me. Come on, look closer. Let's talk for a minute like family. See, sometimes we get mixed up and we'll get it crossed up. See, God never gets crossed up. It is us that does the crossing. Because when he has given us a promise, remember now, promises of his word are conditional and unconditional. So when God gives us conditional promises, that means that it engages you into something you must do. Watch this now. Watch this. I know what he said, but that does not negate you, give you an escape, let you check out on what you're supposed to do. Well, Lord said I can have it. Yeah, you can have it, but you can't get it sitting on your butt. The Lord said that this is my season. Yeah, but you still hung up in the last season. Be careful, because when the promises of God applies to you, they are applicable to you as a believer. But you got to remember, how do you win the game if you never show up? How do you play the game if you never show up? You've got to show up for the promise of God. And that means showing up by faith. I don't see it yet, but I'm still marching toward it. I don't have it yet, but my pocket's already full because of what he said and how he said it. As I keep on moving here, remember last week I said faith gazes at God and glances at your circumstances. See, so don't get hung up with how hot it is outside. Don't get hung up when it seems like the air conditioner is not working. But by faith, that's a circumstance. Watch this. That's going to change, because as the sun go down, the temperature go down. See, your circumstance is changing already. Well, but you can't get fixed on that, because for you, the sun is going down. But here's your responsibility. What are you supposed to be getting done in this time in which God has given you? See, so I'm not worried about, watch me, we'll do it in a minute. Well, I'm going to wait for the sun to go down. I'm going to wait till it get cool. And some of us have to. Watch this. But do understand that the time that you've been allotted in the day, it's not the choice for you to take it how you please. It is the timing of God. Even if you ever got to the day and you planned it all out. Boy, it looked good on paper. Oh, it looked good. I got a plan. And boy, I even get up and I get number one. And then, don't y'all tell nobody, but his phone rang. And he gets in the vehicle while trying to talk on the phone. And he going right around the corner. 15 minutes later, he over in Bossier City, still driving. He on the phone. Well, watch this. So now, watch me now. Y'all watch me. I'm talking about me, not y'all. So the fourth thing on the list was Bossier City, right? So now that I'm there, I'll just go ahead and throw that in because I'm over here, right? Wrong. Because it's out of order and it's out of timing. You see what I mean? So it's easy for us now to take the timing of God and make it our timing. We can't do that. See, we want to play chess with God's time. We want to play chess with what God has told us to do. And we can't do that. We've got to gaze at that circumstance and remember, glance at the circumstance and keep the gaze. Go whoop that thing back around Get back on track. You know, it's going to take you just a little bit of time to get back on track. But watch this. Would you rather be off track for 10 minutes rather than 10 hours? Because you do understand you can't back the day up. Somebody talk to me. You can't go back and get it. No, not the way it works. So be careful that we glance at the circumstances and keep our gaze on God. Here's where we're walking in tonight. Watch this. God already knows and realizes what it is that he's giving you to do by his promises. So it doesn't come as a surprise to him. He know the instructions because he wrote them. So he know exactly what he said, what he meant, and how he meant it, right? So when we're looking at it, so if God has already seen the circumstances, written the circumstances, worked the circumstances out for you, then all you have to do, watch me, is walk in the circumstances. See, you got to give God something to work with. And when we allow him to work with it, then we can refocus on now, watch this, what he is saying and telling me to do rather than what's around me. And the reason for that is because you have to get ready for the test. You have to get ready, watch this, for the test. Watch this. In the promises of God, the test will come. The test will come. Y'all listen to me tonight. The test, watch this, has to come. It must come. What are you talking about? You cannot escape it. You can't go around it. You can't take off a day. You can't check out on it. The test has to come for me and you. Why? Because within the promise of God, watch this, there is testing within the promise of God. God wants to use the test, I'll get this tonight, to strengthen you. See, the test is not for him. The test is for you. Isn't it amazing that when a weightlifter, bodybuilder, athlete, anyone is working out for something, they're trying to strengthen themselves in what it is that they have before them, right? So they do certain things so that they can become stronger. Watch this. With a weightlifter, a bodybuilder, he may start out at a certain weight, but his goal is not to stay with the weight he's at. His goal is to go up on the weight repetition so that he can build strength and be a. Watch this. There are tests for me and you in life that are built in to make us stronger. Why? Because you can't stay, watch this, at the strength that you are, because the testing and the enemy don't stay the same. You've got to get stronger by the word of God. So in order for you to do that, they don't just promote you in school because you showed up for class. You got to test. They've got to know that you know what's in front of you. Well, God is no different. Yes, it is. The promises are there for us. But watch this. God doesn't just automatically give you a check to move on when he knows that you're not ready and not strengthened for this that I just took you through. See, because watch this. This is how he knows. You still asking God to take you around this rather than tell God to sustain you to go through it. You still ask him, Lord, or take this one off my plate. No. And then we wonder why he hadn't moved it or why he won't move it. Well, because again, y'all, the test is not for him. It's for me. It's for you. When that happens, watch this. Watch this. When you are strengthened, when the test strengthen you, they don't strengthen you. God does not test you to defeat you. Why I'm going through this? Why? It's for you. It's for your good. When that happens, watch this. Cooperate with God, work with God, and trust God through this that you're going through. It's not to defeat you. He's not trying to beat you down. He's not trying to make you weak. He's not trying to tell you that you're not. He is just simply giving you to understand that I need for you to come out of this stronger than you when you come out than you were when you went in. Why? Because watch this. There's another test, and another test, and another test. So watch this. I can't pick up the same weight at every test. because some tests are heavier than the other ones. So I've got to get stronger about some things. I've got to get strong. And we do that by understanding and knowing the word of God, and then understanding that when God is allowing me to go through something, he is not, watch this, trying to punish me. He's not trying to beat me down. He's not trying to discourage me. It's for your good. Why? Because the promises of God are laid up for you. They are laid up for you. Watch me. Watch. And if you have to work with God. You have to trust God. And you have to, watch this, cooperate with God. Because if not, Satan will turn God's helpful test into a defeating temptation. Y'all need to write that one down. Satan will if you don't work with God, cooperate with God, trust God, Satan will turn God's helpful test into a defeating temptation. See, sometimes when God has allowed you to go through it, you can spend too much time boxing with God. You can spend too much time talking. You can spend too much time trying to ask him to take you around. And the whole time, remember now, the enemy is telling you, well, I wouldn't do that if I was you. Why you got to go through this? You don't really need that. How's that going to help you? So, if you're not careful, you'll lend ear to that. You'll remember now, here at New Birth, what we say, the enemy only needs a crack. You don't have to open the door. Once you consider the thought, now Satan got something to work with. Satan got something to work with. So be careful. The test helps, watch this, help shape us, grow us, strengthen us in the knowledge of what we say we believe about God in our lives. Did y'all get that? So watch this. How does God know? How do you know? Because you tell the Lord that I trust you, I believe you, I do you make all these kind of promises. How does he know? How does he know? We've got to put it to the test. I hear what you're saying. Watch this. Circumstances show up in my life now. And now I've got to stand on, watch this, what I said. I watch this now. Now, you know how you tell folks you walk around, I'm blessed and highly favored. Yeah, I'm blessed going in and blessed coming out. And then watch this when the test comes. Now what's your language? Now how you talking? See, God, you can tell the Lord anything. But remember, he already knows what you're saying and what's here is not matching up. Be careful. See, what you're saying pulls the world. It convinced folk, oh, he blessed and highly favored. Oh, look at him. They got it going on. See, that don't mean nothing to the Lord. Well, watch this. When you're standing in the fire, like the 3 Hebrew boys, when you're standing against the odds, like Joseph, when you're standing against the odds, that's the time then to tell the Lord, I'll bless you. I'll bless your name at all times. That's the time to tell the Lord, if you lead, I'll follow. That's the time to tell the Lord that by your stripes I'm healed because I'm still following you. That's the time to tell him then that I'm walking. Watch this. I tell people this is my new saying. My reverse is broken. I just got to slow my forward down because I'm not going backwards. So Lord, however you go, I'm going for. I don't have no reverse. It's broken. So I'm moving forward at all costs. So you know what that tells the enemy? You can get out of the way or get run over. Whichever one your choice. I don't really care. And then you know what happens? When I speak that into the atmosphere, you know what happens? The test comes. Stuff starts to happen. It gets a little hotter in the room now. And guess what I do? I just take me an extra towel and I keep going. Because I know what the Lord said. To me, for me, and about me. So I stand on it. I don't stand on arrogance. It ain't got nothing to do with pastoring, preaching. Got nothing to do with any of that. I know what the Lord said to me. I know what he said for me and about me. That's my gaze. That's my gaze. I see the circumstances. And if I could tell you my story, you wouldn't even believe it. But here's the thing. My gaze and my glimpse is different. So listen to what we're talking. We're talking about the promises of God. It has to be an experience, right? And an expectation. I'm in a place right now that I've got to go through the experience. But watch this, y'all. My expectation is I'm coming out. My expectation is I'm already walking out. My expectation is it's already done. Why? Because I got a promissory note. Watch me. I don't even have to call the bank up and get my paperwork. All I got to do is open. It's free. Don't cost me anything. To see what watch this. To see what the promissory note said to me and how it said it. In order, watch this, for us to gain experience in the promise of God, be prepared. Y'all listen to this now. Be prepared to move yourself past your what ifs. What if God doesn't do it? Y'all know how you do. What if it doesn't happen? What if he doesn't come through? What if he doesn't come through in time? Watch me now. Watch, y'all hear what I just said? In order for you to experience, watch this, the promises of God, be prepared to move yourself past your what ifs. Your what ifs don't apply to the promise of God. What if is not in the word? What if it's not in this promise to you? So you've got to be prepared, watch this, to put yourself in position, watch this, because your mind is saying, what if, right? Your heart is saying, what if? And God has already said, it's already done. They don't match up. They don't agree. So when you come into agreement with what's already been said about you, my what if's going to, Lord, I'm waiting on it. I'm walking till I get it. And what if he come through? No, he's already come through. I've got breath in my body. My feet are still moving. I ain't laying stressed out across here. So the what if already gone. It's done. It's done. My right now, watch this, y'all, cancels my what if. Because I'm in right now. What if ain't in there? It's not there. So be prepared to move yourself past what the enemy is trying to use to hold you back. Be prepared to tell yourself, speaking to you, do everything, you do it like that way with everybody else. Somebody come in your face talking sideways, you'll tell them off in a minute. But you won't set the devil straight. Why they do that at? You won't tell, you'll sit there and play pity-pat with the devil. Start considering that foolishness and all this here. Well, Lord, if you don't do it, it's going to be out. I'm going to make it. No. You don't serve an if God. You serve an ever God. There's no if there. So be careful. Consider what I just said. You will consider, watch this, and pity-pat with the enemy, but you'll cuss your sister, your brother, your daddy, your mama, your children. You cuss them flat out when they come talking crazy. But you won't do that for the enemy. Come on, y'all. Really? Really? When you know what the promise of God. So watch this. Let me just digress for a minute. They trying to tell you something about what you already know, right? You gave them the promise, right? And they come in your face trying to tell you about the promise, right? So the Lord gave you the promise, right? So when the enemy come in your face, what kind of conversation you got for again? The promise keeper has told you the promise. So anything that's going against that, you know what? I'm gonna just go on I'm gonna go keep my shoes off now, take that wig off, and do all of that right now. Because we finna have some problems right now. Well, you watch this, y'all laughing at me, but you'll do that with your folk. Let me kick these shoes out. We finna get it in. We finna get it in. But we won't do that with the enemy. We'll let him ravage our houses. Come in our houses, take our children, take our finances, take our joy and our peace and our happiness, as if we're helpless. But let somebody come in your door, come in your house trying to take something from you. To understand it, we should understand, and I need you to realize this. Please realize you're not depending on people and things. Your expectation of God's promises says, I can stand on them. This is not the promise of man. This is not the promise of people. This is the promise of God. So now, if I can't stand on that, see, watch this. And there are some folk in your life and in my life that we can take their word. And even with the best of them, sometimes they don't. Watch it. No ill will, no ill intent. But circumstances happen. But not with God. So watch this, y'all. I'm done. He's in control. Watch this. Of your circumstance. Regardless of where it's at, he's in control of it. So he's in control of the circumstance and the gift. Both of them. He's in control of them. People that we deal with, they're not in control of, watch this, either one of them. But your God is in control of your circumstance and the gift. So when we understand it, put it in proper perspective, and I'm gonna kind of just hang out here, we're done. Understand that your expectation says, this is what God has said to me. That's my expectation, right? Now, let me kind of just narrow this in. At this point, I have become tunnel visioned with what God has said to me about this promise. I hear that. I see that. I hear that. I ain't even looking back over at that. So I understand that in order for me, watch this, to keep hearing the promise, keep eating on the promise, keep regurgitating the promise, then I've got to, watch this, have myself in alignment with the promise. That's how I get there. That's how I stand when the test comes. That's how I stand when everything look crazy to me and I don't recognize it. It's not familiar. I stay gazing. Watch this. I don't see it, but I know what he said. And watch this. And if you want to narrow it down, if you know what he said, when you glance over there, you know he didn't say that. When you glance over, you know he didn't say that. So when you're looking at it and understanding, God does not give it all to you. He doesn't have to. But watch this. By process of watch, what's not a promise says, that ain't it. That ain't it. So I'm still looking at the promise, even though I can't see it all. Even though God has not given me, watch this, the whole thing. But what he has given me is discernment to know that ain't it. That's not it. I'm not going to go over there. So when you understand it, don't watch this. Don't complicate it. Watch this, and how you complicate it is you take yourself and you put yourself right where God need to be. Tell yourself you fine. Just tell yourself you fine. You fine. You know why? Because if you don't divorce, watch this, your thought, your emotion, how you feel, what you say, what you think, you're going to be finding yourself following you. You got to divorce yourself from your emotions. You know how we do. I know what I need to do, but I'm so emotionally caught up in this. I'm so emotionally tired. But watch this. That don't trump what God said. It just goes against what God has said. Facebook family and friends, thank you for joining in live with us tonight. Our prayer is as we continue to walk in, watch this, the promises of God must become our living expectation and our living experience. Our prayer is that you'll continue to join us throughout this series. We'll see you here same time, same place next Wednesday.